You won't believe what happened to these 20 once famous stars. Behind Hollywood's glitz and red carpet smiles lies a brutal truth few ever talk about. These celebrities were once household names, child stars, blockbuster actors, chart toppers, loved by millions and living what seemed like the dream. But today, you wouldn't even recognize them. Fame gave them everything: money, fans, influence. But it also took everything back. Beneath the surface were battles no spotlight could hide: crippling mental health struggles, addiction, betrayal, and the ruthless grip of an industry that forgets you the moment you fall. Some lost it all in the blink of an eye. In this video, we uncover the heartbreaking journeys of 20 stars who spiraled from fame to homelessness. Their stories aren't just shocking, they'll make you question the price of celebrity itself. Margot Kidder. Margot Kidder was more than just an actress. She was a force of nature. Born on October 17, 1948, in Yellowknife, Canada, she soared to international fame as the spirited and unforgettable Lois Lane in the Superman film series alongside Christopher Reeve. With her wit, charm, and fiery screen presence, Margot didn't just play Lois, she was Lois, and fans across the globe loved her for it. Over the course of her career, Kidder appeared in more than 100 films and television shows, including cult classics like Black Christmas, The Amityville Horror, and Smallville. Her performances earned critical acclaim and several award nominations, including a Saturn Award for Best Actress for her iconic portrayal of Lois Lane. But behind the spotlight, Margot faced deep personal struggles. She battled bipolar disorder openly, long before it was widely understood. In 1996, a public mental health crisis left her homeless for a time, sleeping on couches, relying on the kindness of friends and strangers, and navigating a system that often failed people like her. Still, she refused to give up. Margot continued to act, taking on fewer mainstream roles but always pouring heart and soul into her craft. Her resilience became just as legendary as her talent. Fans admired not just the star they saw on screen, but the survivor who never let life's darkest chapters define her. Margot Kidder passed away on May 13, 2018, at the age of 69. But her legacy of courage, brilliance, and unwavering authenticity still shines bright, reminding us all that true heroes don't always wear capes. Jan Michael Vincent. Jan Michael Vincent was once the face of rugged charm in Hollywood. With piercing eyes and a magnetic screen presence, he lit up films like The Mechanic and Hooper, holding his own alongside legends like John Wayne and Burt Reynolds. For over 2 decades, he was a rising star, the kind of actor whose name and face audiences couldn't forget. But behind the fame and good looks was a man silently battling demons. Substance abuse and legal troubles slowly chipped away at his career, and no matter how many times he tried to claw his way back, the weight of addiction pulled him deeper. By the early 2000s, the man who once graced magazine covers was living on the streets of California, homeless and nearly unrecognizable. It was a heartbreaking fall from grace. Fans who once cheered for him barely recognized the frail figure fighting for survival on the sidewalks. And then came the health battles. Complications from an infection forced doctors to amputate his leg, a cruel twist in a life already riddled with hardship. Yet even in his darkest moments, Jan Michael Vincent never gave up. He sought help, leaned on support systems, and tried to rebuild. His story, one of both brilliance and brokenness, became a cautionary tale and a symbol of resilience. On February 10, 2019, he passed away at the age of 74 from cardiac arrest at Mission Hospital in Asheville, North Carolina. Today, Jan Michael Vincent is remembered not just for the roles he played, but for the real-life struggle he faced off-screen. His rise, fall, and quiet fight to keep going continue to inspire those battling their own storms. Erin Moran. Erin Moran, born on October 18, 1960, in Burbank, California, captured the hearts of millions as Joni Cunningham on the beloved sitcom Happy Days during the 1970s and early 80s. With her infectious smile and girl-next-door charm, she became the little sister America adored. Her on-again, off-again romance with Chachi Arcola, played by Scott Baio, added even more magic to the show, turning the young actress into a teen idol. She graced magazine covers, lit up talk shows, and seemed destined for a long, shining career in Hollywood. But when the lights of Happy Days dimmed, Moran's life took a heartbreaking turn. Behind the scenes, she battled personal demons, financial hardship, homelessness, and a struggling career that never quite recovered from her early fame. By 2010, headlines surfaced about her being evicted from her California home, painting a tragic portrait of a star once adored by millions, now grappling with the harsh realities of life beyond the spotlight. In addition to her financial troubles, Erin faced personal battles as well, most notably a publicized divorce and an ongoing struggle with alcoholism. Despite her efforts to rebuild, the industry rarely offered second chances. On April 22, 2017, she passed away at just 56 years old from complications related to stage 4 throat cancer, leaving fans stunned and heartbroken. Her passing stirred a wave of sorrow and nostalgia. For many, Erin Moran was more than a TV character. She was a part of their childhood, a symbol of simpler times. Today, she's remembered not just for the joy she brought as Joni Cunningham, but also as a reminder of how fleeting fame can be, and how essential it is to show compassion to those who fall behind when the cameras stop rolling. Leif Garrett. Leif Garrett, born on November 8, 1961, in the heart of Hollywood, California, shot to stardom in the 1970s as a teen heartthrob. With his golden boy looks and infectious pop hits like I Was Made for Dancin', he became a global sensation almost overnight. But behind the glitter and fan frenzy, Garrett's life began to unravel. As fame peaked, so did his struggles, with drug addiction quietly creeping in and eventually taking center stage. What followed was a tragic descent: arrests, lawsuits, financial ruin, and even stints of homelessness. Every attempt to reclaim his former glory was met with new challenges. The boy who once graced magazine covers was now battling demons few could see. Despite multiple stints in rehab and public efforts to turn his life around, Leif faced an uphill battle, haunted by the shadows of his past. Today, Garrett continues to fight for redemption. While the spotlight has dimmed, his story resonates deeply with fans who remember the bright star he once was. For many, he symbolizes both the fragility of fame and the strength it takes to keep going. His life serves as a powerful cautionary tale, a raw, real reminder of how quickly the dream can become a nightmare, and why compassion and support matter more than ever. Hoy ChatGPT. Dana Plato. Dana Plato, born on November 7, 1964, in Maywood, California, lit up television screens as Kimberly Drummond on the beloved sitcom Diff'rent Strokes in the late 70s and early 80s. With her warm smile and gentle spirit, she became America's sweetheart, a symbol of innocence and charm. But behind the glow of fame was a life unraveling in silence. When the show ended, Dana struggled to transition into adult roles, facing rejection, financial hardship, and the crushing weight of lost stardom. Haunted by disappointment and overwhelmed by pressure, she turned to substance abuse, a path that led to arrests, public scrutiny, and even homelessness. She tried to fight her way back, seeking sobriety and redemption, but the shadows proved too heavy. On May 8, 1999, just 34 years old, Dana died from an overdose of prescription pills, initially believed to be accidental, but later ruled a suicide. Her death sent shockwaves through Hollywood and broke the hearts of fans who remembered her as the sweet girl next door. Dana's tragic story remains a sobering reminder of the unseen battles many child stars face, and the vital need for compassion, mental health care, and real support beyond the spotlight. Mindy McCready. Mindy McCready was born on November 30, 1975, in Fort Myers, Florida, and rose to stardom in the mid-1990s as one of country music's brightest new voices. With hits like Guys Do It All the Time and 10,000 Angels, her raw talent, soulful voice, and emotional lyrics won the hearts of fans and critics alike. But behind the spotlight, Mindy's life was unraveling. Haunted by addiction and caught in a whirlwind of personal struggles, she faced numerous arrests, stints in rehab, and heartbreaking custody battles. Her relationships made headlines, but rarely for the right reasons. Each attempt at a comeback was met with more turbulence, more pain she couldn't shake. On February 17, 2013, at just 37 years old, Mindy McCready died by suicide, leaving behind a legacy of music, sorrow, and unanswered questions. Her death shocked the country music world and became a painful reminder that fame doesn't protect you from darkness. Mindy's story is a haunting reflection of how mental health struggles can be buried beneath public applause, and a call to never ignore the silent battles so many fight behind closed doors. Lonnie Willison. Lonnie Willison was once a rising star, an actress and model known for her roles on hit shows like Baywatch and Nash Bridges. Born on October 30, 1969, in Los Angeles, California, she seemed destined for a glamorous life. But behind the spotlight, her world slowly unraveled. After a painful, highly publicized divorce and custody battle, Lonnie's life took a heartbreaking turn. By 2015, she was living on the streets of the very city where she once found fame. Her fall from stardom wasn't just about lost roles, it was about lost support. A physical disability made it nearly impossible to work, and with no safety net, Lonnie slipped through the cracks. Her story isn't just tragic, it's a brutal reflection of how quickly life can change, and how even the brightest stars can be left in the dark. In recent years, Lonnie has bravely opened up about her journey, shining a light on the often invisible struggles of homelessness. She speaks not for sympathy, but for awareness, advocating for support services and reminding us all that compassion can change lives. Her strength, resilience, and raw honesty make her story not just heartbreaking, but deeply human. If this story moved you or opened your eyes, please comment "OK" below. It helps this video reach more people who need to hear it. Thank you for watching. David Cassidy, the teen idol who lost everything but left behind a legacy. David Cassidy, the heartthrob of the 1970s and star of the Partridge Family, captured the hearts of millions with his boyish charm, golden voice, and magnetic stage presence. Born on April 12, 1950, in New York City, he skyrocketed to fame almost overnight, becoming one of the biggest teen idols of his era. With chart-topping hits like "I Think I Love You" and "Come On, Get Happy," Cassidy seemed to have it all: fame, fortune, and a fan base that stretched around the globe. But behind the bright lights and screaming fans was a man quietly unraveling. The pressure to maintain a squeaky clean image, combined with the isolating demands of celebrity, began to eat away at him. Cassidy struggled for years with alcoholism, drug addiction, and broken relationships. His career, once unstoppable, slowly faded. By 2010, he was no longer living in mansions or selling out arenas. He was living in a rented apartment in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, barely scraping by. When eviction came, Cassidy, once adored by millions, was forced to live out of his car. He later spoke openly about the pain and humiliation of that period, revealing a side of fame most fans never see. The man who once made the world smile was now battling his own darkness, alone and ashamed. David Cassidy's story is a heartbreaking but powerful reminder that fame doesn't protect you from life's harshest blows. His rise, fall, and quiet resilience reflect the painful reality faced by many who struggle with addiction, mental health, and financial instability. Though he passed away on November 21, 2017, his voice still echoes in the hearts of fans, and his journey continues to shed light on the importance of compassion, understanding, and support for those silently suffering. MC Hammer. MC Hammer was once the unstoppable force of rap music, a cultural icon whose hammer pants and infectious beats ruled the airwaves in the late 1980s and early 90s. With chart-topping hits like "You Can't Touch This" and "Have You Seen Her?", Hammer didn't just make music, he became a movement. At the height of his fame, he was raking in an estimated $33 million a year, living large with mansions, luxury cars, a private jet, and an entourage of over 200 people. But the same rapid rise that made him a superstar also paved the way for his fall. Lavish spending and poor financial management caught up with him. In 1996, Hammer filed for bankruptcy, revealing more than $14 million in debt. Lawsuits piled up, including one from the IRS for unpaid taxes. In 2011, his once glamorous Fremont, California mansion was foreclosed and sold at auction for a mere $1.3 million, a shadow of its original value. Even his iconic hammer pants were auctioned off to pay creditors. Still, Hammer didn't let the downfall define him. With humility and hustle, he pivoted. Though his later music didn't top the charts, he reinvented himself as an entrepreneur and philanthropist, launching businesses including a record label and a digital media company, while actively supporting charitable causes. Today, MC Hammer may no longer dominate the charts, but he's carved out a new kind of success, one built on resilience, reinvention, and purpose. His story is a powerful reminder. Even in the face of public downfall, redemption is possible. And no matter how hard you fall, you can always hammer your way back. Willie Alms, from teen idol to homeless, and back again. Once the heartthrob of a generation, Willie Alms captured America's attention as the lovable star of the 1970s hit show 8 is Enough. With his boyish charm and wholesome good looks, he seemed destined for a lifetime of stardom. But behind that golden smile was a young man quietly unraveling. Born on July 15, 1960, in Newport Beach, California, Alms rose to fame as a child actor, but the pressures of Hollywood fame, personal demons, and mounting financial troubles soon took a devastating toll. By the 1980s, as roles dried up and the spotlight faded, Oms turned to drugs and alcohol to numb the pain. What followed was a harrowing downward spiral. Multiple arrests, bankruptcies, and eventually, the unthinkable, homelessness. In 2007, Oms hit rock bottom, living on the streets of Vancouver, British Columbia. He was cold, broke, and alone. But rock bottom didn't break him, it woke him up. He checked into a homeless shelter, began attending AA meetings, and found a community that didn't see him as a fallen star, but as a man fighting to rise again. With grit and grace, Willie slowly pieced his life back together. He began volunteering at the very shelter that took him in, helping others who were lost in addiction and despair. Over time, he became a certified counselor, and today, he travels the world as a motivational speaker, using his darkest chapters to inspire hope in others. He chronicled his incredible journey in his memoir Grace is Gone, a raw, honest look at life after fame and the power of second chances. Willie Oms' story is living proof that no matter how far we fall, there is always a way back, with courage, community, and the will to keep going. Natasha Lyonne. Natasha Lyonne, the fierce, flame-haired force behind Orange is the New Black and Russian Doll, is more than just a talented actress. She's a survivor. Born April 4, 1979 in New York City, Natasha rose to fame early, charming audiences in films like Heartburn and Dennis the Menace. But behind those early smiles was a storm brewing, a storm of fame, family chaos, and personal demons. By her teens, the pressure cracked through. Expelled from school, she plunged into a dangerous spiral of drugs, alcohol, and self-destruction. The girl once seen on every screen found herself in handcuffs, rehab, and eventually, homeless on the streets of New York in 2005. Her life had fallen apart. But Natasha Lyonne is nothing if not a fighter. At rock bottom, she didn't give up. She reached out, to shelters, to AA meetings, and slowly began to stitch her life back together. With every small acting gig, every moment of sobriety, she reclaimed not just her career but her identity. Her comeback wasn't just a return to the spotlight. It was a resurrection. Orange is the New Black reintroduced her to the world, and Russian Doll proved she wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. Today, Natasha is a celebrated actress, writer, and director. And more importantly, she's a truth-teller. She speaks openly about her battles with addiction and homelessness, using her platform to uplift those still in the fight. Her story is a raw, unfiltered testament to resilience, proof that even in our darkest hours, there's a spark waiting to ignite. Natasha Lyonne didn't just rise again. She came back stronger, bolder, and more honest than ever. Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye, born Marvin Pence Gaye Jr. on April 2, 1939, in Washington, D.C., was more than just a voice. He was a movement. With smooth, soul-stirring vocals and lyrics that challenged the conscience of a nation, Gaye delivered timeless classics like What's Going On and Sexual Healing, earning his place as one of Motown's brightest stars and one of the best-selling artists of all time. But behind the music was a man in pain. Despite his fame and influence, Marvin's life was filled with personal demons. He struggled with drug addiction, spiraling finances, and bouts of homelessness that led to legal troubles and fractured relationships, including a turbulent marriage and years of deep family conflict. The very people he tried to hold close often became sources of sorrow. Then came the unthinkable. On April 1, 1984, just one day before his 45th birthday, Marvin Gaye was shot and killed by his own father after a heated argument, a tragedy that stunned the world and silenced a voice that had once spoken so powerfully for peace and love. Yet even in death, Marvin Gaye's legacy lives on. His music still echoes across generations, touching hearts, challenging minds, and reminding us that pain and beauty often walk hand in hand. He wasn't just a singer, he was the soul of a generation, and his voice will never be forgotten. Lisa Robin Kelly. Lisa Robin Kelly, born March 5, 1970, in Southington, Connecticut, rose to fame as Lori Foreman, the feisty, sharp-tongued older sister on the beloved sitcom That 70s Show. With her striking presence and rebellious charm, Lisa quickly became a fan favorite, adding spice and edge to the show's dynamic. But behind the scenes, her life told a much darker story. Struggling with addiction and personal demons, Lisa faced a series of legal troubles, including arrests for DUI and assault, that slowly chipped away at her career. The bright lights of Hollywood dimmed, and steady work became harder to come by as her battle with substance abuse deepened. Despite moments of attempted recovery, The pain never fully let go. On August 15, 2013, the world lost Lisa far too soon. She died at just 43 from multiple drug intoxication, leaving fans heartbroken and stunned. Her passing was a tragic end to a life once filled with promise and talent. Still, many remember her not for the struggles that defined her final years, but for the spark she brought to every scene she touched, proof that even the briefest moments of brilliance can leave a lasting legacy. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes, born on July 31, 1962, in Orlando, Florida, rose to fame in the 1990s as one of Hollywood's most dynamic and versatile actors. With unforgettable performances in New Jack City and White Men Can't Jump, he wasn't just a rising star, he was a force. Charismatic, intense, and undeniably talented, Snipes carved out a space where action met artistry. But just as he reached the height of his stardom, his world took a dramatic turn. In 2008, the headlines changed. Snipes was convicted of tax evasion, accused of failing to file returns during the peak of his career. The trial was public, the fall from grace very real. He was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison, a stunning twist in the life of a man once seen as unstoppable. Yet even behind bars, Snipes didn't fold. He used the time to study, to write, to sharpen his skills. When he was released in 2013, many doubted he'd return to the spotlight. But Snipes, ever the fighter, stepped back onto the screen, perhaps not with the same box office dominance, but with the quiet strength of someone who had faced himself and kept going. His story isn't just about fame or failure, it's a powerful reminder of what happens when financial missteps collide with the law, and how even stars must answer to accountability. Still, through scandal and struggle, Wesley Snipes showed something more important than fame: resilience. And that might just be his greatest role yet. Randy Quaid. Randy Quaid, born October 1, 1950, in Houston, Texas, was once a celebrated talent in Hollywood. With standout roles in films like The Last Detail and the National Lampoon's Vacation series, he earned critical acclaim for his range and charisma. But behind the accolades, Randy's life spiraled into something no one could have predicted. Alongside his wife, Evie Quaid, he became entangled in a series of bizarre and troubling events: arrests for burglary, vandalism, and even squatting. The couple claimed they were being hunted by a shadowy group they called the Hollywood Starwhackers, a conspiracy that gripped the tabloids and left fans stunned. Their erratic behavior, fueled by paranoia, sparked serious concerns about their mental well-being. They eventually fled to Canada, seeking asylum from what they believed was a Hollywood plot against them. But the legal battles followed, casting a long shadow over Randy's once bright career. What began as a story of stardom turned into a haunting cautionary tale about the price of fame, the fragility of the mind, and what happens when the spotlight turns cold. If you found this video interesting, please comment "OK" below to help keep the conversation going. Thank you for watching. John Drew Barrymore. John Drew Barrymore, born on June 4, 1932, in Los Angeles, California, was born into Hollywood royalty, but his life was anything but a fairy tale. As a member of the legendary Barrymore acting dynasty, he seemed destined for greatness, with early roles in films like While the City Sleeps and Thunderbirds showcasing his undeniable talent. Yet behind the spotlight, John battled personal demons that cast a long shadow over his career. Addiction plagued him for decades, leading to multiple arrests, broken relationships, and missed opportunities. While the Barrymore name opened doors, it also became a burden, one he struggled to rise above. He spent much of his life trying to escape the expectations of a legacy that felt impossible to live up to. On November 29, 2004, he passed away at the age of 72, leaving behind a haunting tale of talent, torment, and the high cost of fame. His story is a sobering reminder that even those born into privilege aren't immune to pain, and that mental health and addiction must be faced head-on, even in the glimmering world of Hollywood. Hoy ChatGPT. John Drew Barrymore, born June 4, 1932, in Los Angeles, California, was born into Hollywood royalty, but his life was anything but charmed. As the son of legendary actor John Barrymore and a proud member of the iconic Barrymore dynasty, expectations loomed large. He earned praise for early roles in films like While the City Sleeps and Thunderbirds Are Go, hinting at a promising career. But behind the camera, John battled personal demons that would haunt him for decades. Addiction, arrests, and a string of legal troubles cast a long shadow over his potential. Despite his talent, He struggled to step out from the towering legacy of his family and create an identity of his own. Hollywood doors that once opened easily began to close, and his relationships suffered as his battles deepened. On November 29, 2004, John Drew Barrymore passed away at the age of 72, leaving behind a complicated legacy of brilliance and heartbreak. His story remains a sobering reminder that fame doesn't protect anyone from pain, and that even those born into greatness are not immune to the grip of addiction and the need for healing. Corey Haim. Corey Haim, born Corey Ian Haim on December 23, 1971, in Toronto, Canada, was more than just a teen heartthrob. He was a bright star of the 1980s. With unforgettable roles in Lucas, The Lost Boys, and License to Drive, often alongside close friend Corey Feldman, Haim captured the hearts of a generation. His boyish charm, emotional depth, and natural screen presence made him a rising icon. But behind the fame and flashing cameras was a young man quietly slipping into a battle he never truly escaped. Corey's struggle with substance abuse began while he was still a teenager, and it haunted him for the rest of his life. What started as youthful experimentation spiraled into addiction, leading to lost roles, financial hardship, and a painful fall from grace in Hollywood. Though he made several attempts at a comeback and showed glimpses of the star he once was, the demons never fully loosened their grip. On March 10, 2010, Corey Haim passed away at just 38 years old, officially due to complications from pneumonia, though drugs were found to be a contributing factor. His death sent shockwaves through the industry and broke the hearts of longtime fans. It was a tragic reminder of how fame can burn too hot, too fast, and how the glitter of Hollywood often hides a much darker truth. Corey Haim's legacy is bittersweet, a talented actor taken too soon, and a cautionary tale of the cost of stardom. Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey, born James Eugene Carey on January 17, 1962, in Newmarket, Ontario, Canada, became one of the most unforgettable comedic talents of his generation. With explosive energy, wild physical humor, and rubbery facial expressions, he rocketed to superstardom through iconic roles in Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber. His ability to make people laugh was unmatched, but behind the laughter was a man carrying deep emotional scars. Despite his fame and fortune, Carey has endured profound personal struggles, including a long battle with depression and the devastating loss of his former girlfriend. These painful experiences forced him to step back and question the very nature of success and what it truly means to live a fulfilling life. Today, Jim Carrey chooses peace over the spotlight. He's traded red carpets for paintbrushes, channeling his emotions into vivid and thought-provoking artwork. While he still appears in the occasional film or TV project, his focus has shifted toward mental wellness, self-expression, and living authentically. Fans continue to admire his openness about mental health, his rejection of Hollywood's pressures, and his fearless decision to redefine what happiness looks like on his own terms. Brett Butler. Born Brett Anderson on January 30, 1958, in Montgomery, Alabama, rose to fame in the 90s as the sharp-witted and resilient Grace Kelly on the hit sitcom Grace Under Fire, 1993 to 1998. Her portrayal of a single mother navigating life's challenges struck a deep chord with viewers and earned her critical acclaim. But behind the scenes, Brett's life was unraveling. Struggles with substance abuse, mounting financial troubles, and increasingly erratic behavior eventually led to her exit from the show, and a fall from grace in Hollywood. In the years that followed, Brett faced unimaginable lows, including homelessness and a continued battle with addiction. But she didn't stay down. Determined to reclaim her life, she sought treatment and began the long road to recovery. Today, Brett Butler is a symbol of resilience. She's slowly rebuilding her career, appearing in occasional film and TV roles, and proving that even after the darkest chapters, redemption is possible. Many admire her not just for her talent, but for her raw courage in facing her demons and choosing to rise again. Gary Coleman. Gary Coleman was born on February 8, 1968, in Zion, Illinois, and quickly rose to fame as the lovable Arnold Jackson on the hit sitcom Diff'rent Strokes, which ran from 1978 to 1986. With his signature line, "What you talkin' 'bout, Willis?" Gary didn't just steal scenes, he stole hearts around the world. But behind the bright lights of stardom was a much darker reality. Despite becoming one of TV's most recognizable child stars, Gary's life off-screen was riddled with hardship. He battled financial ruin, sued his parents and former managers for mismanaging his earnings, and struggled to find his place in an industry that had once adored him. As the roles dried up, Gary tried his hand at other ventures, but lasting success always seemed just out of reach. Then, on May 28, 2010, tragedy struck. Gary passed away at just 42 years old from a brain hemorrhage. His sudden death sent shockwaves through the entertainment world and left fans grieving the loss of a childhood icon. Gary Coleman's story is one of both unforgettable joy and quiet heartbreak, a reminder of how fleeting fame can be, and how even the brightest stars can struggle once the cameras stop rolling. Aaron Carter. Aaron Carter, born December 7, 1987, in Tampa, Florida, skyrocketed to fame in the late 90s and early 2000s as a pop and hip-hop sensation. With infectious hits like Aaron's Party, Come Get It, and I Want Candy, he quickly became a teen idol, plastered on bedroom walls and adored by millions. But behind the screaming fans and platinum records was a young star silently unraveling. As the spotlight faded, Aaron's life took a darker turn. He battled substance abuse, mental health struggles, and a string of legal issues that cast long shadows over his once bright career. In recent years, he spoke openly about his demons, addiction, anxiety, and the pressure of growing up too fast under a microscope. He sought treatment and tried to rebuild, bravely pulling back the curtain on a life many misunderstood. Despite his efforts, Aaron faced financial collapse, public scrutiny, and emotional turmoil. On November 5, 2022, he was found dead at just 34 years old. His cause of death ruled as accidental drowning after inhaling difluoroethane and ingesting alprazolam. Aaron Carter's story is a heartbreaking reminder of how fame can come at a devastating cost, and how vital it is to reach for help when the weight of it all becomes too much to bear. Todd Bridges, a childhood star who faced darkness and chose light. Born on May 27, 1965, in San Francisco, California, Todd Bridges shot to stardom as a child actor, charming audiences worldwide as Willis Jackson on the beloved sitcom Diff'rent Strokes, 1978 to 1986. With his charisma and on-screen chemistry alongside Gary Coleman, Todd became a household name. But behind that familiar smile was a young boy battling demons no one saw coming. While the world saw a rising star, Todd was quietly spiraling. By his teenage years, he was already struggling with substance abuse, an addiction that would haunt him for decades. Fame couldn't protect him from the grip of drugs, the trauma of childhood, or the legal troubles that eventually led to incarceration. Yet Todd's story didn't end in tragedy. It turned into a powerful tale of redemption. He fought his way back, step by painful step, and committed himself to recovery. Today, he stands as more than just an actor. He's a passionate advocate for addiction recovery and mental health awareness, using his voice to inspire others who feel lost in the darkness he once knew so well. Bridges continues to work in film and television, but his greatest role may be the one he plays in real life, proof that no matter how far you fall, you can rise again. His resilience, courage, and honesty have earned him a new kind of respect, one that lasts longer than applause. Video conclusion: engaging and thought-provoking. Thanks for joining us on this emotional journey as we uncovered the stories of 20 celebrities whose lives took unexpected and heartbreaking turns, ending in homelessness, obscurity, or silence. Todd Bridges is just one example of how fame can mask a lifetime of pain, and how survival doesn't always come with spotlight or applause. These stories remind us that success and wealth don't guarantee peace of mind. Mental health matters. Seeking help is not weakness, it's strength. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Which of these stories hit you the hardest? A. Margot Kidder. B. Marvin Gaye. C. Todd Bridges. Or drop the first letter of someone else's name whose story you think deserves to be heard. Join the conversation in the comments. Your voice matters. And remember, the true measure of a person isn't how high they climb, but how bravely they stand after the fall. If this video moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more powerful stories right here on Iconic Inside. A testament to her unshakable strength, Julia Roberts refused to let others define her. Even as she rose to global stardom, she remained her own harshest critic, often joking about her imperfections with a disarming wit that only made fans love her more. Her passion for acting was sparked by watching her brother Eric find success in Hollywood, inspiring her to join local theater productions. But in her heart, Julia once dreamed of becoming a veterinarian, a reflection of her deep love for animals. After high school, she enrolled at Georgia State University, but soon followed her ambitions to New York City with her sister. There, she signed with a modeling agency, took acting classes, and worked tirelessly to soften her southern accent, which casting directors saw as a roadblock. Yet the acting classes felt fruitless, so Julia decided to skip the lessons and dive headfirst into auditions instead. When joining the Actors Guild, she was forced to tweak her name, changing from Julie to Julia, since another actress had already claimed the original. Determined to break into the industry, she took a leap of faith and moved to Hollywood, crashing with her now famous brother. But success didn't come easy. The film industry wasn't exactly welcoming to a small-town girl with a big smile. In 1987, she landed only minor parts, in a TV episode of Crime Story and a small role in the movie Firehouse. It was a sobering beginning. Eric, at first, was her biggest champion, even casting her in a supporting role in Blood Red, where she played his sister. But over time, his enthusiasm faded. He told Julia it was time she stood on her own. To Julia, it felt like betrayal. Their relationship fractured, so deeply that years later, she even aided his ex-wife during their divorce proceedings. The two have remained distant ever since. Undeterred, Julia pressed on. She honed her skills at a dance studio, learned to play instruments, and continued to push forward, without her brother's help. That same year, she scored a small role on Miami Vice and landed her first movie lead in Satisfaction, playing a musician. To prepare, she learned bass and drums. It was also during this project that she met Liam Neeson. Despite their 16-year age gap, she was 19, he was 35, they fell into a whirlwind romance and moved in together. But Julia soon realized she wasn't ready for family life and moved out just as quickly. Her next big break came in 1988, when she dyed her hair black for the role of Daisy in Mystic Pizza. The film wasn't a box office juggernaut, but critics took notice, and so did Hollywood. She earned $50,000 for the role, but it was enough to prove she was a rising star. Then came Steel Magnolias in 1989. Julia played a young diabetic bride, and her heartbreaking performance captivated audiences. The film grossed $80 million, and Julia's emotional portrayal earned her a Golden Globe and her first Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. It was also on that set she fell for co-star Dylan McDermott, who proposed. But despite the engagement, the two never married. Julia's star continued to rise. In 1990, she earned a $500,000 paycheck for the thriller Flatliners, and found herself in another high-profile relationship, this time with co-star Kiefer Sutherland. Their engagement quickly became tabloid gold, with everyone awaiting Hollywood's wedding of the year. But just days before the ceremony, scandal erupted. Julia was spotted with Kiefer's close friend, Jason Patrick. The news shocked fans and media alike. 3 days before the vows, Julia famously called off the wedding and fled to Ireland, with Patrick. The headlines dubbed her the Runaway Bride, a nickname that would follow her for years. That same year, she landed the role that would define her career, Vivian Ward in Pretty Woman. Originally titled $3,000, a nod to the deal made between her character and Richard Gere's, the film was expected to be a gritty drama. But with Julia in the lead, it became something else entirely. A romantic comedy phenomenon that would cement her place as America's sweetheart. The transformation of Pretty Woman from its gritty original concept to the beloved romantic fairy tale we know today is as dramatic as the film itself. In one early version, Julia Roberts' character, Vivian, was written as a drug addict who tragically dies of an overdose. Another version ended with her heading off to Disneyland with a friend. But in the end, director Gary Marshall steered the story toward a more hopeful, uplifting conclusion, one that would become iconic in Hollywood history. To prepare for the role, Julia immersed herself in the world of her character, even spending time at a free clinic run by Marshall's wife on Hollywood Boulevard. Her commitment was undeniable. During an intimate scene with co-star Richard Gere, she became so nervous a vein popped out on her forehead, requiring several takes, a massage from both Gere and the director, and even a few laughs to calm her nerves. In another scene, to evoke real laughter while Vivian watched old comedies, crew members tickled Julia's feet off camera. That authenticity, however, came at a cost. The grueling schedule left her exhausted and underfed. At one point, she fainted on set, prompting Marshall to personally ensure she was eating, serving her tuna to help keep her going. Even the film's now famous poster hides a secret. Only Julia's head was used, while a body double filled in the rest due to time constraints. Despite critics offering mixed reviews, Pretty Woman became a box office juggernaut, grossing over $180 million in the US alone. Julia's performance earned her a second Oscar nomination and a second Golden Globe, firmly establishing her as a rising star. For her role, she was paid $300,000, a number that would soon skyrocket. After Sleeping with the Enemy in 1991, Julia Roberts became Hollywood's most in-demand leading lady. At just 23 years old, she made history by becoming the youngest actress to earn $1 million paycheck. That same year, Dying Young brought her $3 million, and Hook brought in another $7 million. During this meteoric rise, she briefly dated director James Foley. She kept the hits coming with The Player and The Pelican Brief, which earned her $8 million and a role that critics called tailor-made for her. In 1993, Julia stunned fans by proposing to country singer Lyle Lovett just weeks after meeting him. They married soon after, but the union lasted only 2 years before Julia called it off. In 1994, she returned to the screen in I Love Trouble, which cheekily referenced her earlier role as a prostitute in Pretty Woman. Over the next few years, she kept busy with projects like Pret-a-Porter, Something to Talk About, Michael Collins, Mary Riley, which earned her $8.5 million, and a memorable guest spot on Friends in 1996. Her brief romance with Matthew Perry ended quickly due to his struggles with substance abuse, a deal-breaker for Julia. She then had short-lived flings with Daniel Day-Lewis, Ethan Hawke, and even her personal coach, Pat Minocchia. In 1997, she raked in big money once again. $11 million for Conspiracy Theory and $12 million for My Best Friend's Wedding, a film where she personally handpicked the cast, including Cameron Diaz and Dermot Mulroney. This era marked the peak of Julia Roberts' reign. Her films dominated the box office, and she became the most bankable actress in Hollywood. Around this time, she met actor Benjamin Bratt, instantly falling for him after spotting him on the street. Their 4-year romance captivated the tabloids, with Bratt even earning the nickname Mr. Roberts. Between 1998 and 2010, Julia continued to evolve, taking on diverse roles in film and television. From Stepmom to Notting Hill, her range and star power only grew. She reunited with Gary Marshall in Runaway Bride, but only agreed to the project on the condition there would be no sequel. Then came Erin Brockovich in 2000. Her powerhouse performance earned her an Oscar, a BAFTA, a SAG Award, a Golden Globe, and a historic $20 million paycheck, making her the highest-paid actress in Hollywood at the time. Amid all this, love found her once again. On set, she met cinematographer Daniel Moder, the man who would become her husband and longtime partner. In 2001, Julia Roberts met the love of her life, and by 2002, they were married, settling into a breathtaking Malibu mansion that would become their family sanctuary. Throughout the 2000s, Julia remained a powerhouse in Hollywood, earning top-tier salaries for standout roles in Mona Lisa Smile, Ocean's 12, and Closer. But behind the red carpets and camera flashes, she was embracing a far more personal role: motherhood. In 2004, she welcomed twins Phineas Walter and Hazel Patricia, stepping gracefully into a new chapter that balanced fame with family. Even as she shifted gears, her career stayed strong. From voice acting to emotionally rich dramas, Julia continued to shine. Her role in Eat, Pray, Love, 2010, wasn't just a box office hit, it was a reflection of her own spiritual journey, deepening her connection to Hinduism. Through the ups and downs, including private heartbreaks and public challenges, Julia has remained a symbol of resilience, using her platform not only for entertainment but for impact. She supported charitable initiatives like Gucci's program to improve cooking conditions in impoverished African communities, proof that her heart is just as big as her talent. In recent years, Julia has chosen her roles more selectively, devoting more time to her family and passions behind the scenes, including producing and championing meaningful causes. As the face of luxury brands like Lancome and Givenchy, she's continued to enchant audiences worldwide with her timeless beauty and effortless charm. With a net worth of $250 million, smart real estate investments across the U.S., a love for knitting, and a commitment to organic living, Julia Roberts isn't just surviving Hollywood, she's mastering it on her own terms. Her legacy, one of brilliance, authenticity, and that unforgettable smile that made the world fall in love. As one of the most beloved and talented actresses of her generation, Julia Roberts continues to prove that grace, grit, and genuine joy never go out of style. If you enjoyed this story, drop a 1 in the comments, or hit that like button to help us bring you more inspiring journeys like Julia's. Thank you for watching Iconic Inside. Looking back, Marie Osmond offers us an intimate glimpse into one of the most transformative and turbulent chapters of her life. Imagine being a teenager suddenly thrust into the spotlight, surrounded by icons like Cher at just 17 on the Sonny and Cher show, or rubbing shoulders with bombshells like Jacqueline Smith, Cheryl Ladd, and Farrah Fawcett, at the height of her fame thanks to that iconic red swimsuit poster. Standing next to these women, including the dazzling Raquel Welch, Marie couldn't help but feel like a child playing dress-up. Her self-esteem took a hit in a world where beauty seemed to come with impossible standards. But one moment cut deeper than all the rest. Studio executives pulled her aside and issued a harsh ultimatum: lose 10 pounds or the show would be cancelled. They called her an embarrassment and warned her not to eat. At just over 100 pounds, Marie was already slim, but the shame burrowed deep. Determined to meet expectations, she dropped to a dangerous 93 pounds, surviving on little more than lemon water, cayenne pepper, and maple syrup in a desperate attempt to shrink herself to fit a distorted ideal. This wasn't just a teenage phase. Marie's struggle with body image followed her into adulthood, morphing into battles with anorexia and bulimia. In 2018, she courageously opened up about these demons, sharing how they became a twisted way of reclaiming control in a life where she often felt powerless. Even more devastating, she revealed another layer of trauma: physical abuse she endured as a child. In her memoir, she bravely spoke her truth, not to seek pity, but to offer solace to others walking a similar path. In a 2019 appearance on The Talk, Marie went deeper, explaining how the abuse shaped her view of love and intimacy. From a young age, she felt alienated, convinced she was somehow broken, fundamentally different from everyone else. Her candidness pulled back the curtain on the lifelong effects of childhood trauma, not just on her career, but on her sense of self and relationships. Yet through the darkness, there was light. Her father and brother became her emotional anchors, gentle, kind-hearted men who helped reshape her view of masculinity. Their love reminded her that not all men wound, that some heal. Their unwavering support was a lifeline, guiding her back to self-acceptance and inner peace. Marie's journey through love mirrored her life in the spotlight: beautiful, complicated, and full of surprises. As a young star, she crossed paths with some of the most famous men of her era. She shared a sweet romance with Michael McDonald of the Doobie Brothers, her first real crush. Then came Andy Gibb, whose memory still brings a warm smile. And David Cassidy, beloved teen idol of the Partridge Family. But even with all the stardom between them, Marie humorously recalls the moment she realized it wouldn't work. "I looked at him and thought, nope, it's not going to happen. His butt's smaller than mine," she laughed. In 1982, at just 22, Marie married Steve Craig. But after 3 years, the fairy tale faded. She later married Brian Blosill in 1986, with whom she built a large family, raising 7 children. But their home wasn't free from hardship. One terrifying night, while Marie was away, a fire swept through their Utah house. Brian, home with the kids, managed to save everyone, but the emotional scars remained. For Marie, it became a wake-up call. Beneath the picture-perfect family image, something wasn't right. The fire, both literal and metaphorical, forced her to confront the cracks in her marriage. In 2007, she and Brian parted ways. It was the end of a long chapter, but not the end of her story. In a twist that feels scripted by fate itself, Marie eventually found her way back to the man she once let go. She remarried Steve Craig, proving that sometimes love comes full circle, and healing often begins where the heart first opened. In 2011, fate brought Marie Osmond full circle. She remarried her first husband, Steve Craig, more than 2 decades after their 1985 separation. To Marie, this reunion wasn't just a coincidence, it was a divine nudge, a second chance written by the hands of something greater. She's always believed that nothing in life is accidental, that every twist and turn unfolds on a divine timetable. That belief has carried her through some of the deepest valleys of her life. As a mother of 8, Marie's journey through motherhood has been filled with love, but also profound struggle. In 1999, after giving birth to her son Matthew, she battled intense postpartum depression. In a candid interview with TV Guide, she revealed the emotional and physical toll: crippling exhaustion, muscle spasms, and a darkness that nearly consumed her. At one point, she left her children temporarily in the care of others, retreating into solitude. Her return brought with it a diagnosis: clinical depression. In 2010, she opened up to Oprah Winfrey about that time in her life, admitting she had even considered ending it all. Her bravery in sharing such pain reminded everyone of the quiet strength beneath her fame. Then came August 2006, when rumors swirled about a possible suicide attempt after a reported hospitalization. Her representative was quick to clear the air, stating it was a severe reaction to medication, not a deliberate act of self-harm. Fans were relieved, and Marie leaned on her family to recover, once again finding her balance. A year later, another health scare unfolded, this time in front of millions. During Dancing with the Stars, right after a high-energy samba, Marie fainted on live TV. True to form, she bounced back with humor and grace, turning a frightening moment into something light-hearted. But behind the scenes, it was a wake-up call. Motivated by her son's plea, "I want you to be around to meet my kids one day," she made her health a priority. With Nutrisystem by her side, she committed to change and achieved a significant transformation, both physically and emotionally. But the most devastating blow came in 2010, the death of her son, Michael. He had battled depression for years, and though he once promised he wouldn't harm himself again, the weight of his inner pain proved too much. Marie missed a call from him just minutes before stepping on stage with Donnie. Later that night, the coroner confirmed the unthinkable. Michael had died from injuries sustained in a fall. No drugs were found in his system. Just heartbreak. The pain was compounded by reports of bullying, making the loss all the more unbearable. That absence, his absence, left a wound Marie knows will never fully heal. Tragedy has marked much of her life. In 2004, she lost her beloved mother, Olive, to stroke complications. Her father, George, passed away 3 years later at age 90. In 2014, her brother Jay's granddaughter died in a terrible accident, an echo of Marie's own grief. Her nephew died unexpectedly in 2018, likely from an undiagnosed medical condition. And in 2022, the family mourned again when Chris Mortensen was killed in a senseless road rage attack. Health struggles have also plagued the Osmond family. Marie revealed in 2019 that her brothers were all battling serious issues. Verl suffered a stroke, Tom needed quadruple bypass surgery, Jimmy experienced a stroke as well, and even Donnie was preparing for surgery. Despite it all, Marie stands anchored by her unwavering faith. "I've faced a lot of loss and hardship in my life," she says, "but I truly believe that faith can carry you through even the darkest times." Yet even in grief, Marie finds light. With her trademark wit, she jokes about retiring from her Las Vegas residency with Donnie, not because of herself, but because he's getting too old. The Donnie and Marie show, originally slated for just 6 weeks at the Flamingo Hotel, ended up running for an incredible 11 years, a testament to their bond, their talent, and their enduring place in America's heart. As 2019 came to a close, Donnie and Marie Osmond took their final bow on the Las Vegas stage, sparking rumors of a possible rift between the iconic siblings. But those whispers were quickly silenced the following year when Marie surprised fans by showing up to support Donnie during his solo performance in Vegas. The moment was nothing short of magical. Donnie later shared it with his followers, writing, "Together again. Words can't even begin to describe how amazing it felt to have my sweet sister join me on stage." If you're enjoying this story, drop a number 9 in the comments below. Just before that heartfelt reunion, Marie made a bold career move by joining the talk as a co-host, stepping in for Sarah Gilbert in August 2019. But after just a year of captivating conversations and daytime charm, Marie chose to walk away, trading the spotlight for something far more personal: time with her husband, Steve Craig, and their children. With her youngest kids heading off to college, Marie embraced a new chapter focused on family, love, and reconnection. Of course, Marie Osmond's legacy stretches far beyond her duet days with Donnie. She's graced Broadway, lit up television screens, written best-selling books, and enchanted audiences with her passion for performance, something that still brings a smile to her grandchildren's faces. Off-stage, she's dazzled as a competitor on Dancing with the Stars, acted in numerous roles, and even built a wildly successful porcelain doll empire on QVC. Her dynamic talents have helped her amass a fortune exceeding $20 million, and she's still going strong. But perhaps one of Marie's most surprising choices came not on stage, but at home. In a break from Hollywood norms, Marie announced that she wouldn't be leaving her children a massive inheritance. Why? Because she believes the greatest gift she can give them isn't wealth, it's work ethic. "I want them to earn it," she said, believing that too much handed-down money can rob children of ambition and resilience. Instead, she plans to donate her estate to charity, a decision met with both praise and pushback, but one she stands by wholeheartedly. Marie's perspective on legacy is grounded in values, not valuables. And that commitment shines brightest in the way she supports her children. When her daughter Jessica came out as gay, Marie didn't hesitate to offer unconditional love and support, despite the challenges that might bring in conservative circles. Jessica, who Marie and her former husband Brian adopted at age 2, later married her partner Sarah with Marie proudly by her side. That moment was a powerful testament to the depth of Marie's love, unwavering, inclusive, and rooted in acceptance. In reflecting on the life and journey of Marie Osmond, we see more than just a performer. We see a woman who has weathered the highs and lows of fame with grace, strength, and an unshakable sense of self. Her story is a reminder that true success isn't just about applause or accolades. It's about the legacy we leave through our actions, our values, and the love we give. By choosing purpose over possessions and connection over convention, Marie challenges us all to consider, what kind of legacy do we want to leave behind? How do we define success, not just for ourselves, but for our families? We'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What values do you want to pass on to the next generation? And if you find meaning in these deep dives into the lives of inspiring figures, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell. Thank you for joining us on Iconic Inside, where stories aren't just told, they're felt.